Good evening. Yeah, it's me again. Again, a disclaimer. I am not authority again in this particular subject. Yeah, but today I'm excited to introduce one of the pillars, the first pillar actually, which is meetings. And yeah, the reason meetings are very important is that this is where we congregate. This is where we meet as addicts to identify, talk about our experience, to share our strength and our hope. There is a very precise format, for meetings depending on the autonomy of each group. But, all of these meetings are guided by the traditions, obviously the 12 traditions of NA, where the traditions make sure that there is safety, there is a platform for addicts and alcoholics to be able to come and share the story. Maybe sometime we go into the actual traditions. But for now, the purpose of the meeting is what is important for me. As a newcomer, I came into these rooms, and the very first time I was in a meeting, I was intrigued by the number of people in the meeting, how I was welcomed into this meeting, given a hug when I could not even hug myself, when there was not even enough love for my own self, and the people welcomed me with, both arms, and I felt comfortable. I was welcomed, and I sat there for the first time, and people started praying, and it was the serenity prayer, and already I'm thinking, okay, this prayer seems very interesting, you know what I mean? But without any judgment and all of that, I sat through and I read all of these preambles, and I was wondering where and how all of these things came together. But as they're reading, I'm listening attentively. It actually helped me understand as well the safety aspect of it, how everything as it would be said there should be kept there, and what governs that, being under no surveillance, many of the other, traditions, but what was very interesting for me is realizing that I'm not alone and hearing people actually sharing freely about their struggles. And I'm like, whoa, it proves to me that I'm not the only one that has been suffering from this, disease that I did not even understand and that I didn't even, know that I had, So, it clarified a lot of, mysteries around how I felt about myself and what was happening around me, And as they read the preambles, I got a clear sense of what it meant, to be there, welcoming the newcomer, saying that the newcomer is the most important person at any meeting. And, somehow it made me feel, important being at the right place, even though, there was a lot of confusion, a bit of fear, because I realized that people were, starting to read. And I wondered, hey, there's so much also literature here, So I thought it would be, as I've seen it on TV, because obviously TV doesn't show the whole, aspect of the meeting. You find people introducing, hello, my name is Sakamenerit, and we love you, Saki. And I thought, okay, now this is reality now. Very interesting. But, I stayed on. And then things started to make sense to me, how it works, who's an addict, the 12 steps. I'm like, whoa, there's 12 steps here, and people started sharing then, about their experiences, and people were free, for the first time I'm seeing people, recognizing each other, raising their hands when they relate to someone, smiling, people, being free to express everything as it has happened in their lives, or how they're staying clean, the mention of sponsor, the mention of higher power, the mention of service, so meetings, I didn't bother about, how they said and all of that, but how everybody gave each other attention, how everybody listened, how everybody respected someone on the platform, that allows them to share freely, about their struggles, about their lives, about, their uh, achievement as well in recovery. No matter how small you would have been, a person, would share how, they struggle throughout life, and now that they are in this fellowship, and how they might have achieved, so much. It might have been so little, by just staying clean. A person would be completely proud, by just simply regaining faith, regaining, trust, especially from family, the struggles that they get, also out of their own family, what they're facing every day, and how their lives has turned around, and somehow towards the end, there'll be clean time, countdown, maybe, they say, who has stayed clean, and, how long they've stayed clean, and it was also very interesting for me. I'm like, dude, you've been clean for like a month. Is it possible, And then others would be like 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, and I'm like, dude, I wonder how how you did that. You actually been craving for 10 years. It is amazing. I'm joking. But in essence, I realized the ability, the chance, an opportunity for me to also stay clean, and that meeting somehow became a place that I would, start to think about all the time. There was only one meeting then in Soweto, if I remember. It was only a Saturday meeting, and I spent the whole week just waiting, for that meeting to come, and this is when I realized that, yeah, a meeting, would be a power greater than me, because the embarrassment of picking up along the way, or, knowing that there's people who are staying clean and I cannot come the following week and I say I'm 2 days clean again. No, I really wanted the 7 days clean to raise my hand as well. So, it gave me the strength, it gave me the courage. I met people, I saw people, I met my sponsor in this meeting, and there was a meeting after the meeting, whereby now we started talking casually, and announcements, and I heard that there's other meetings all over the world, and I was very encouraged, so meetings is where I go to not only to talk about myself or what is happening in my life, but to also hear, people's stories, a reminder, especially if one would stay clean for a bit, one would tend to forget, actually where they come from. So it's a very good reminder that, there are people who still even need us, or we need them to remind us where we come from and remind us exactly how it felt, because some people say desperation is a gift, so should I even forget about my desperation? I know it might sound cliche, but the fact of the matter is that if I forget exactly where I come from, it means, I'm going to get complacent, and then the next thing I go back and pick up. Meetings is, was or still is one way that allows me not to isolate, where I can come and share my mind, my troubles, and also my success, and then they realize that, oh, there's other little events like your mini conventions, your conventions that happen over, a weekend, Cape Town, Durban, world convention, and trust me, yeah, me when they are really love to attend the world, convention, but for now is the purpose that, the meeting is still serving for me, that chance to congregate with people who, whom have similar experiences with me, people who relate to me, who don't judge me, There's a say that, whatever that is being said in a meeting should remain there, and, gossip kills, and it really does kill, So, respecting those important, principles of the meeting for me is important, not talking to anyone about what was said in the meeting or who said what, respecting anonymity, of the meeting, I understand that some of the traditions are actually changing now because, when these meetings were started, the world was at a different place, technology and the number of people to reach was not the same as now, as we definitely have to move with the times, being in this contemporary age where the social media, where there was COVID, when meeting had to be online, so it's a different feeling as well, during COVID. I remember just simply missing a hug. Oh my God, being hugged, somebody saying it's okay, it's going to be all right. Oh, it might not seem so significant, when it happens, but immediately when one started missing that hug, I knew that, yeah, you see, this is, somehow something very, very, very special, deeper than just any congregation or, any organization, it's oh, I cannot explain, the impact of a simple hug, Obviously, there's different meetings at different places, geographic places that are influenced by, people's social status and, where they're from, meetings in suburbia, meetings in rural, meetings in the city, they actually have, a different format, a different feeling, but the message always remains the same. The people are there to help each other stay clean. That is the most fundamental thing about these meetings, So not only did I learn that these meetings are, for addicts only, and then I learned that also our families have to go through the very same meeting structure, in the Al-Anon and the Nor-Anon, where our families have to learn, share, find support as well, Another biggest thing for me about meetings is support, knowing that there's someone who listened to me, especially when I found my sponsor at my meeting, and since my sponsor has been there, taking me through step work, the understanding of the program. Obviously it depends on my enthusiasm as well. No one can force me to come to a meeting. No one can. Look, I have to want to stay clean, the same amount of my desperation for my drugs, is the same as for my meetings. If I needed drugs 3 o'clock in the morning and they say there is a meeting 3 o'clock in the morning, I think I should have the same enthusiasm. You know what I mean? Because I really need to stay clean. So in meetings, it's not about the rules. It's more about what I'm gaining out of it. Every time I go to a meeting, no matter whether a penny has dropped or not, I know that I definitely feel better. I might have a horrible week or a challenging day, but immediately when I go to the meeting, trust me, I know I'm definitely going to feel better. So meetings for me, it's one of those very, very important pillars, and, without a meeting, I don't think we would be able to, stay clean and keep each other, and not only company, but keep each other accountable as well at times, because this is where sponsors meet sponsors, sponsors meet sponsors. A sponsor of a sponsee is there, a sponsee of a sponsor is there, and there might be even a lineage, there might be a generation of sponsor sponsee, relationship there, So, meetings are very important, so I think for me that is enough for today. And thank you, and have a lovely evening. I thank you. Good night.